go on to our next speaker. Dr. Ratni, there were two wonderful videos. We're just running late, so we're not able to do more justice to yours. Next speaker is Dr. Mahesh Bharti, who's a consultant glaucomatologist from LVPI Vaishar, and he is going to dwell on a challenging moment with GAT procedure. On to you, Dr. Mahesh. Can you share your screen?
Just 1 minute, ma'am. Yeah. Just 1 minute, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. Would you want him to show your video, Dr. Anand?
Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, we can. Yeah. Go ahead.
The PPT is visible, right?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Chitra and AIOS for the opportunity. So I'll be taking you through the GAT procedure, which Dr. Ganesh has already shown in one of his video. My surgery video will be mainly about the preoperative considerations and few surgical pearls, and I would show you two of my cases. So yeah, this is the surgical video which goes. So though we have a lot of devices like the iStent inject, the KDB blade, or the Tavectome, or the Zen implant, I think the cost factor is one of the most important things. And these preoperative considerations are applicable for all the mixed procedures. So if you see the image which is there, the microscope is tilted almost like 45 degrees towards the surgeon, and the head, which is not shown here, is tilted 45 degrees away from the surgeon. That will give you a good visualization of the nasal angles. You're sitting temporally to the eye. So you need a cooperative patient, and mostly we have done till now in open angle glaucomas, mild to moderate glaucoma to start with, steroid-induced glaucoma, uveitic. The case one is a 62-year-old male with both eye POAG with uncontrolled intraocular pressure of 34. Now I have made a stab entry and then a 2.8 keratome clear corneal incision, which will help me to pass the MVR blade to create a nasal goniotomy. I'm using pilocarpine now. It's a phakic patient, so I'll achieve the constriction of the pupil. And once again, before the procedure, I like to get a good view of the angle. And then with the MVR blade, I go into the nasal angle and create almost like 1 to 2 clock hours of goniotomy. A little bit of heme reflux is expected. Here I am putting the visco on the cornea itself, so just be watchful of that. I'll let you know what the pearls are in the subsequent video. Again, you see the blood staining onto the lens and all that. Yeah. Now I'm introducing the 5-0 Rollin suture, which is the terminal bud is pre-made by Orolab, and then using a Grishaber forceps, I'm grasping the Rollin suture. And then, as Dr. Ganesh also mentioned, you see the suture is almost close to the angle, the wall of the angle. It is not perpendicularly jutting into the angle. And then almost around 25 to 30 strokes, you just keep passing it. And it's a zoomed in view where you see that the suture has almost passed 360 degree and the leading edge has come into the incision. And then we hold the suture outside with the McPherson forceps and then pull it both the ends like the purse string, and then you get a 360 degree trabeculotomy. So few surgical pearls for achieving. The stab entry with MVR is angulated towards the nasal angle so that your suture can be placed, and avoid the limbal vessels. So if you see the clear corneal MVR entry is almost at the limbus. So here you're seeing the bleeding. Whereas if you see the clear corneal incision with the keratome, it's almost a little anterior so as to avoid the blood. And this blood which comes over the corneal surface will kind of hinder your visualization. So avoid limbal blood vessels. And then always treat whatever you see. Get a good view of the angle before you start. And use of pilocarpine to achieve a good constriction of the pupil and to get good view of the angle. So with that, this is a challenging case of a post-VR surgery with uncontrolled glaucoma with silicone oil bubbles in the subconjunctival space, and TRAB was deferred, and an implant was actually planned for the patient. Intraoperative, this is a 2x speed video. So intraoperatively, we saw the angle was quite open, and then again with pilocarpine constricted the pupil and then had a good view. A nasal goniotomy is achieved, and quite similar to the previous video. The suture is grabbed and then passed along the whole 360 degree of the goniotomy incision, and then yeah, there comes the leading edge of the 50 Prolene suture, and then you achieve a 360 degree goniotomy. Yeah, this patient was on 4 medication, even including Ripatec. And this is the post-operative 1-month image, which shows the cleft in the angle. You see this cleft, which has been created all 360 degree. And this was at 1 month post-op with just pilocarpine. The patient is achieved 14 millimeters of mercury, and he's recently came for his 9-month post-op, and he's still maintaining at around 12-14 millimeters of mercury, and he's off pilocarpine now. So the post-operative regimen that I use is antibiotics with topical steroid prednisolone for the first week, because the initial first week we have a lot of ifema and inflammation, and pilocarpine 4 times a day for the first week. At 1 week post-op, depending on the inflammation, I change over to lotipred and taper it, and pilocarpine twice daily for 1 month, and then stop it. And so, yeah, this is how the gonioscopy looks. So the advantages of GAT procedure is like easy availability, achieves a 360 degree trabeculotomy, conjunctiva friendly, simple learning curve. Biggest virtue is obviously cost as compared to other mixed devices. So the take-home message from this surgical video and this procedure would be like, it's a pretty easy procedure. Only thing it needs more hands-on on intraop gonioscopy. So what I would suggest is, like, even after your normal cataract surgeries, if you have a Swan-Jacob direct gonio lens, maybe you can just try intraop gonioscopy in a few cases, and the head positioning and the microscope positioning. And it can be tried in mild to moderate glaucoma, where medication compliance is an issue or tolerance is an issue, and it can be combined with a cataract surgery or can also be done as a standalone procedure. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Mahesh. That was a wonderful teaching video. I'm just going to ask you one question. When you're doing it with cataract surgery, would you like to do it before the cataract surgery or after the cataract surgery, and the advantage which you see in it?
Actually, ma'am, there's been a study which says, which compared both, and it says that there is not much of a difference between doing it prior or after. But what I do is I try to do it prior, because once after cataract surgery, I feel that the globe is not very much taught to pass through the suture. So what I do is I do a rhexis, finish off the rhexis, and then do the GAT procedure, and then combine, finish off with the cataract surgery. And at the end of the surgery, I don't wash out complete visco. I just leave around 20 to 25% of the visco, which will give a tamponade. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot.
And
That was a
post-op
great
head and elevation for the decreasing the heme reflex. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. We shall
Thank
now
you,
go on. Thank you very much.